It was afternoon, and she was in her usual spot under the maple, holding her newborn when she first saw it. The baby had been sleeping for more than 3 hours, and she was nudging him to wake up. The sun filtered through the maple leaves on and off, projecting random patterns of shade and low sun on her arms. So at first she thought the gray area in the center of the baby's head was just that, the sun playing with the leaves before sundown. When she shifted him to her left arm, there were the first telltale signs of him waking up, the shiver in the upper lip, the one eye struggling to open, but the gray area was still there, even more evident now. The fontanelle, it was called, the gap where the skull was still immature and open. It would eventually be welded together by time and bone growth by the middle of its second year. In the meantime, there was this vulnerability, this incompleteness. She let her index finger slide across the skull, tracing the bones from left to right, back to front. Then she let her finger rest on top to gauge the depression. There was no doubt. Where there had been a flat, taut plain, today there was a valley, as if something on the inside was pulling on it. For a moment, everything was quiet, even inside her head. But then suddenly the loud growl from the neighbor's air conditioner broke the silence. A squirrel in the tree above her was startled and jumped off a branch to the garden shed. The baby let out a whimper. Automatically, she lifted her t-shirt, rolled her nipple between her fore and index fingers, and helped him latch on. As usual, the baby kept losing his attachment to the breast, and she had to relatch him several times, but her attention remained on that point in the middle of his head. It didn't heave and drop the way it had been doing for the past 6 weeks. Even as she touched his toes and tapped his arms, her eyes didn't stray from his head. Stimulate him enough to keep him awake during feedings, the lactation consultant had said during her last visit. Tickle him, even pinch him a bit under his feet. It's important he gets the hind milk. In the days since, she tickled and pinched and tapped and stroked and nipped while he nursed. By the time he finished, they were both exhausted. She knew about hind milk, the fatter milk, which only came out once the breast was less full. Breastfeeding gold, the consultant called it. That's what would calm the baby, make it put on more weight, eventually sleep longer during the night, though the sleep part was no longer a sign of success. He slept well, but when the weight gain started to slump, she had to set the alarm at night to make sure he ate enough. Now, night or day didn't make a difference. The nursing schedule was the same. At first, her husband was bothered, but he adapted. He took the alarm as his cue to go and spend the rest of the night in the basement. It's not like I'm much help, as long as you breastfeed, he said. Then, as if one excuse wasn't enough, he added, someone has to work in the morning. She really didn't mind. With her husband gone, she put the bassinet in the bed.